The royal family of Saudi Arabia is said to hold an amount of wealth in the neighborhood of $1.4 trillion. That kind of fortune brings with it serious expectations of decadence. One glimpse of the kinds of private planes they purchase, and you'll see that they more than measure up. Private planes are in many ways the ultimate status symbol, a way to escape the cramped seats and weak food you get even if you fly first class on a commercial flight. Even within the realms of other private planes, the 737 belonging to Talal bin Abdulaziz flies in a class all its own. Known as the Red Prince, he was well known for his liberal views across his lifetime. Despite that, this plane proves that there was still a flair for the decadent beneath all of that progress. One merely needs to look at the plane's inscribed title to understand. Translated to English, it simply stands as the Victorious, a regal name truly befitting such a regal aircraft. Victorious has bones that are normal enough. It started out as a 737 Boeing business jet, or BBJ, that was completed in late 1999. The private jet would then go through a series of renovations that cost tens of millions of dollars. This luxury aircraft was pushed beyond normal decadence into something else entirely. The interior of the entire aircraft, from the carpets to the walls to the ceiling, are all colored in a regal but soft blue that simultaneously seems both relaxing and decadent all at once. The gold accents and bold reflective surfaces that appear throughout the beauty all highlight the notion that this is the most luxurious flight you will ever take in your life. Then there are the furniture selections throughout the plane. Large, comfortable, cream-colored couches, sectionals, and throw pillows all beckon for you to stretch out in style. Then there's the removable table that will transform the flight from a relaxing trip through the clouds into an official meeting in a few seconds flat. This is exactly what a responsible politician, businessman, and philanthropist needs to show that he's a professional while simultaneously making sure everyone remembers that he is, in fact, still a Saudi prince. One look at the bathroom even, and you'll forget that you're seeing a plane's lavatory at all. No miniature toilet and sink in a room barely big enough to breathe. Smooth blue countertops adorned with gold lead to a golden sink that sits beneath a mirror that frames you in gold as well. Even the door features a floor-length mirror with lights built into the walls on either side. This simply shows the design philosophy that went towards renovating this plane. Not 1 square inch from the bathroom to the seating is anything less than the height of excellence. One wonders if even the cockpit has a golden control console for the pilot. Truthfully, Victorious doesn't resemble most private planes you'll see dancing through the skies. No, in design and in use, it seems to be considered more of a sky yacht or private flying hotel than most of its luxury aircraft contemporaries. Despite the artistry, comfort, and over-the-top adornments Victorious sports, it has spent a shockingly small amount of time actually flying through the air. Despite the fact that it has been soaring for well over 22 years, Victorious has only spent 6,602 hours up among the clouds. This is a remarkably small amount of flight time for what has to be one of the finest aircrafts ever assembled by man. The Red Prince passed away in 2018, and Victorious went to the next generation. Times changed though, and the private plane was put on the market in 2021. Though selling something as customized as this aircraft can prove to be a difficult sale to make. Trying to price a flying masterpiece like this is no easy task. There isn't a given price for the Victorious, but there are other similar planes that cost a small fortune. For instance, a new BBJ can run around $75 million. Then there are older used models from 2001, which can sell for $15 million. Still, these numbers don't mean much to something like the Victorious. While the exterior may be worth a little over $10 million, the work done on the interior is likely worth just as much on its own. For those looking not just for a private plane, but a luxury yacht for the sky, Purchasing a work of art like Victoria's would likely cost well over $25 million. There is no word yet on if anyone did manage to pick up this luxury sky yacht for tens of millions. It's entirely possible that the decadence that makes Victoria such a gorgeous aircraft is exactly what makes it a tough sell. Even in a sector known for the peaks of modern extravagance, there may be no buyer willing to stretch the tens of millions more than a plane of its nature is worth just to own a private hotel that can soar through the air. Does it earn the name Victorious? Perhaps not so much anymore. Private jets have become the norm for businessmen and celebrities around the world. It seems as though everyone has to have one to go with their private island resorts, luxury yachts, enormous mansions, and other symbols of high status and wealth. Despite the growing normalcy of these aircraft, there is one that dwarfs them all, the true, largest private jet in the world. And it should come as no surprise that it was purchased by a Saudi Arabian prince. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal was named by Time magazine as one of the top 100 most influential people in the world in their 2008 edition. That's clear because he's a billionaire businessman, investor, philanthropist, and royal worth upwards of $39.8 billion. This puts him in the top rankings of the richest men in the world, among the likes of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, where he ranks as 7th. He is known for being the founder, chief executive officer, and 95% owner of the Kingdom Holding Company, which has stakes in hospitality, mass media, entertainment, retail, agriculture, petrochemicals, aviation, technology, and real estate. So, as someone who was once named the Arabian Warren Buffett, he is the exact sort of person who would purchase a private plane so large that it's been called an office complex, hotel, or Turkish bath of the clouds. In basic terms, it is a brand new Airbus A380 that is big enough to hold up to 800 people, truly stretching the definition of what makes a private plane private. This sort of aircraft is usually used by airlines as a large-scale commercial flight. This aircraft will be delivered to the prince stripped down and ready for renovations. There are amazing plans for it once it arrives, plans that will surely make it one of the finest aircrafts to ever lift off. The plans were created by one of the greatest names in private jet design, Ades Doret. The designer is well known for creating jets that feel like the client's mansion, not just a flight. Doret has designed for heads of state, billionaires, and all sorts of high-profile clients looking for the very best private planes money can buy. For the prince, he crafted what might just be his masterpiece, what he calls the head of state. The plane will feature extensive lobby areas with a futuristic curving grand staircase that spirals up through the plane. Then there are the lifts that will take passengers through all floors of the craft, as well as dropping down to the tarmac to a private entrance or exit. This will perhaps be the most stylish way anyone has ever entered or disembarked an aircraft. The prince has plans to include 20 luxury staterooms for guests. These designs look far nicer than accommodations you'd normally see in even a 5-star hotel. The designs are quite futuristic with a bold white color scheme, unique furniture that is built into the walls, and a curved ceiling that makes the entire thing feel like a room you'd get on a luxury spacecraft, not a private plane. There are smaller rooms as well, with king-sized beds pushed against each other. As a bonus, the rooms will all feature a virtual prayer mat that will always be pointing towards Mecca, no matter where the flight is in relation to the holy city. The sci-fi style features don't just end at the guest rooms either. No, the flight will also have a well-being room, which will feature an enormous movie screen on the floor and walls, which will depict views of the Earth's surface as the plane soars. In the center of the floor will be a magic carpet, which guests can sit on and feel as if they are flying through the clouds as if by magic, not by the genius of modern aviation engineering. Scented breezes are then added to truly make the experience immersive, though the breezes will be gentle and not the far more accurate gusts of wind that would send you flying if you were really traveling on a magic carpet at speeds of 737 miles per hour. Instead, the magic carpet will serve as almost like a 4D ride during your flight. It won't be the only unique form of entertainment one will find on the flight either. The Airbus will famously feature a full concert hall added on. Presumably there will be full bands and orchestras hired for private concerts the prince and his guests will enjoy at his leisure. The designs already promise that some of the biggest names will be hired to throw concerts on the stage for a truly unique show the guests will surely never forget. The more professional aspects of the flight have a unique futuristic vibe as well. The boardroom built into the Airbus will feature a large Perspex table, which is said to act as basically an iPad table. Not only that, but it will also feature state-of-the-art technology that sells that it will be able to project holograms for meetings. This gives the entire space the vibe that it will be something out of an Iron Man movie, not a makeshift office space many private planes feature. Not everything about the flight will be futuristic though. The aircraft's design also looks to be incorporating classic luxuries as well as futuristic ones. The plane will have its own Turkish bath where multiple people will be able to enjoy a relaxing steam together. Beyond that, the aircraft has several other expensive additions, including a full garage area, a gallery, and many more luxuries throughout, which likely costs thousands, if not millions, to include. The Airbus itself was purchased for a stunning $385 million, which is surprisingly a fairly good deal for this kind of aircraft, which can easily reach prices of well over $400 million. As far as the renovations go, a project like this will likely cost millions, if not tens of millions. This will likely make it one of the most expensive airplanes ever constructed, though selling it will probably be next to impossible. As previously stated, these aircraft are usually known for hauling hundreds of people on packed commercial flights. The renovations, while decadent, will likely make it impossible to carry a fraction of the 800 passengers it was designed for. Not just that, but each and every amenity added onto the Airbus brings with it its own responsibilities. The upkeep on this plane is probably quite extensive. Maintaining a flight-ready Turkish bath requires an amount of work that there's simply no way of truly projecting for cost. That is because there's no other quite like it to compare it to. Then there's simply the cost of operating the Airbus itself. Due to its extensive size, keeping this flying leviathan fueled up and ready to soar is a small fortune in and of itself. Just to keep the tank up, the Airbus costs between $26,000 and $29,000 per hour of flight. This has caused many to declare the aircraft as a complete and utter failure, even for commercial flights. An aircraft of this size for purely private use would be truly an astronomical expense. So this gargantuan aircraft, owned by a 67-year-old Saudi prince, may end up seeing only a few years of service despite its many luxuries. Who knows though? Perhaps there's a chance it will make quite the eccentric hotel one day once its life among the clouds is at an end. Well, the dreams of both the aircraft and the potential hotel may be put on hold indefinitely. Reports are that the initial order was cancelled, throwing into doubt that the largest private plane in the world will ever become a reality. Rumor has it, though, that the prince still has plans to make this come true eventually. What's one more Airbus purchase when you're the 7th richest person in the world? Even if he never gets his own, it's likely that he'll be able to sell the designs once Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk complete their plans for commercial spacecraft for the upcoming space tourism boom. The aircraft already looks like something out of Star Trek, so why not fully commit? A magic carpet ride through the stars would sell itself. The head of state may never come to fruition, but Prince Al-Walid bin Talal can rest knowing that he also owns perhaps the nicest Boeing 747 ever made, known as the Dream Jet. The interior of this craft throws any hint of subtlety or futurism out the door in favor of the kind of decadence one would see in centuries long past, or from millionaires in the 1980s. The entire home features a gold on gold on gold color scheme that looks as over the top as you'd expect. The main seating area looks quite unlike anything you would see on most flights. Everything is gold, with lush, spacious couches, state flags, and marble tables. A far cry from even first class on most flights. As if any of that weren't subtle enough, in the center of the plane, there's the ultimate status symbol. That would be the prince's very own throne made for him and him alone. While the seat itself is designed for comfort, the gold adornments behind him certainly get across the point that you are, in fact, addressing a royal prince. There is a long meeting room with a gold table flanked by plush, comfortable chairs. The walls and ceilings are all bright and shiny with light bouncing off of them, along with unique swirling light fixtures. A long descending staircase leads to a very different dining area. Here, the gold on gold color scheme is abandoned for a flawless white and gray color scheme. There are even dozens of luscious seats where fine food is brought out for the prince and his guests. The bedrooms are far less impressive than the prince's other dream aircrafts are. They are simple black beds, somewhat roughly crammed into the sides of the plane. They are superior to the Herculean task of trying to find a comfortable way to sleep in a normal airplane seat, but not much better. As far as the seating for the normal people goes, it looks shockingly average. Gone are the gold adornments and over-the-top luxury. Instead, rows of black seats that you would see in most commercial flights are packed in next to each other. So the obvious question needs to be asked: how much did this incredible aircraft set the prince back? Well, a standard brand new Boeing 747 costs around $400 million just by itself, which is a major expense even for someone like him. His version of the aircraft is much more expensive though. It has been reported to be worth well over $500 million. That means everything from the throne to the dining area to the cheap seats cost him somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million. Knowing the prince, it is quite likely that we will see another luxury aircraft in his future. Every one of the richest men in the world needs an expensive hobby, and his seems to be creating for himself the finest private planes ever built. Well, it looks like he can rest easy knowing that he has accomplished just that at least once. Even if his flying concert hall, bathhouse, flying carpet, Iron Man meeting room never came to be. A flying throne room is quite enough for him to rest his laurels on. While it costs millions to hundreds of millions to craft one of these flying works of art, chartering your own private jet is much more affordable at only a few $1,000s an hour.